This is my ginger-inspired gossip girl look, okay? When I talk to my clients, and if you're a note taker or just really paying attention, I want to give you a couple questions that will stump your clients, but also be very interesting in terms of dialogue. And that first question is asking her, who are you? That's a very tricky question. Who are you, or how do you want people to perceive you? Because if I can tap into what her personality is, then I have a foundation that I create color from. If she's fun and perky and sassy, then she's going to be turned on to brightening it up and adding a few little highlights. If she's pressed and pleated and shops at Ann Taylor Loft and she's a lawyer, she's not going to want something wilder or stronger in color or disconnected anything. Do you know what I mean? And being able to refer back to that is also a really nice retail trick. Because what we do in the salon is we finish hair, and then we say, here's the shampoo, the mousse, gel, styling product, spray that you need. But the one thing we always forget to ask is, when these women come in, they actually do have another life. They might have to wear an updo on occasion because they have a husband who's a CEO and they need to go to fancy parties. Or they might be a ponytail lady and they need something to tame down the frizzies. Meanwhile, we blew out the head of hair that they will never do except when they come and visit us. So tapping into their lifestyle, where they come from, what their deal is a world of opportunities. I work in New York City. I work in a salon called Cutler. Rodney Cutler is the owner. I work on 57th Street in Midtown Manhattan, and I get a lot of these girls, and girls in Manhattan will skip dinners for 2 days in order to get their hair colored. Do you know what I mean? New York has an aesthetic to it, a flavor to it that's kind of fun and can be exported out into a lot of different cities. So this is Laura, and what you're looking at is a base color, a few painted on highlights, but the most interesting thing we did first was we preserved some of her hair in foils with Shades EQ Cream Clear. So I used a clear demi and foiled out about 15 pieces so that I could use the lightness that she came into the salon with as a little bit of a highlight. Do you see what I mean? I don't think we always have to go for 20 vol and bleach or 30 volume. Whenever we have some dimension that's happening already, save it, shine it, and add a little condition to it. So if you want to take a look at the monitors, or take a picture of the monitors, you'll see what Laura's formula is. Naturally a level 7. So she was sort of blondish, ginger-headed to begin with. Medium texture. Really important to call out texture because that's a pacing item as to what product I use. Can I get away with a high lift blonde or a lightener or a different shade itself? So the very first thing was Shades EQ Cream. We foiled out a few pieces, and then between all of those foils, I worked with Chromatics, which is Redken's new hair color. It's a no ammonia oil delivery system product. I'm sure you've heard about all of these new oil delivery, no ammonia types of products, so they're not going away. There's something really to get on board with. The reason I picked a permanent color for Laura is because I wanted to create some porosity and a little bit of sparkle. Do you know what I mean? If I just selected a level 8, 9, or 10 demi, it would deposit down for me, and I would lose some of the sparkle that comes from actually lifting and depositing with permanent hair color. Does that make sense to you? Yeah? So we use 2 ounces of 10NW and an ounce of 8GR, so a level 10 natural warm, to a level 8 gold red with 10 volume. And stand up for me for a second, please. Laura, I'm just going to move you right back here. Okay, and I want to show you guys how we did this. The foils, everyone has their own method, their own way of putting foils in the hair. So we preserved the top because this is the hair that falls down on the visual part of the hair. And then, there's one fly. Do you see it? It's going to get me. There's one. Okay, I'm okay now. So the foils are Shades EQ Clear. You're with me, right? Preserving what she came into the salon with. And if I can have a pair of gloves. This is Mariano, everyone. Say hi to Mario. He was my assistant for 3 years. I plucked him out of Beverly Hills, moved him to New York, and now he's doing his own thing. So I'm thrilled that he's with me. You'll get a chance to meet the other folks on the team as well. So applied the foils, went in between with the chromatics on zone 1, which is the scalp area, but applied a very liberal retouch, probably the first 2 inches or so of the hair, and then went back through once the base formula was on. And if you guys check out the monitor, you'll get to see a little bit more of a close-up of this. I took a horizontal parting, and just pulled the color away from the base and started to distribute it down so that the concentration of the color is at the root area, and then it begins to dry out as we get closer towards the ends of the hair. And I'll admit to you, this color sat overnight, so it's giving me a little bit of a trick to comb through it, in case you're wondering what that's about. And I'm not pushing this down and combing it because I don't want to transfer color to anything underneath. I just want to pull it away from the base and distribute it through the mid-shaft a little bit and then just comb it down. And this is what we did to the entire head of hair on Laura, who's sitting in front of you, chromatics 10NW and 8GR. And then once all of this is, can I have a clip, please? Once all of that was combed through the entire head of hair, I went through and painted on a few pieces, and I'll show you how we painted this on. I used this great little brush that we make at Redken. It's 1 inch wide, and it has sort of a angled bristle. Do you see that? And that's very fun to be able to brush on this way whenever you're applying color. Now, I don't want my lightener to come in contact with my permanent color, and I just want a few pieces through this area that will complement the highlights that we've preserved on top. So I just grab a little bit of hair, and this is Flash Lift, which is Redken's new lightener, mixed with, what volume is it? 20 volume, all the way down. And sometimes I get in there and use both of my hands and distribute this all the way down to the ends and make sure that you have a really nice blend. And the closer you get to the head form and you have saturation, you just release the strand. And then you move in with another piece and you apply the lightener. And it's fun to touch the product and work with your hands. Make sure you have nice distribution, get closer to the head and release the piece. And then this is what we did just along the perimeter for Laura. This is key, so you can use this part of the brush to create a blend. You can use your cigarette smoking fingers, like this, or you can just go hand over hand, and the better the saturation, so the strand is white with product, and you get closer to the head form and you just release it. Now, I always keep a damp towel on my station because it gets a little messy. I'm going to take the next section down so you can see where we are able to lay these on top of each other. And here's another little trick. So you take a section, and I'm just working with my hands, fluffing it a bit and letting it go into its natural falling position. For Laura, if I saw a piece that was already lightened, you know how that works. Sometimes you want to grab that piece because when you hit it with a fresh dose of lightener, you get a little more action out of it. Do you see how that works? So we just finished around the perimeter of the head by painting on some of those pieces. And Laura, if you stand up and move to the front for me, you'll see the subtlety of those tiny little pieces. Spin around really slow. I don't think Laura does anything slow. Yeah, that right. Thank you for that. That was like the bend and snap. Well done. Look how pretty your hair looks on camera. She said to me the other day in the model room, I could just, in my bedroom, in front of my mirror, just, hang out for hours. What's up? The reason why I combed the color through was I'm working with 10 volume, so I'm just sort of bumping the base maybe half level or so. And the concentration of the color is at the root area, but I wanted to blend it and distribute it down further. So by combing it through, I have the wettest product at the root area, and then I begin to comb it, and it spreads out and dries to where the ends have nothing. So it's a way to create just a slight amount of depth without coming through the previously lightened pieces. Plus, I knew I wanted to add a few more lighter pieces, and I wanted to do it all in one step. Is that for virgin hair only? Not necessarily. A lot of it is how you're reading that head of hair itself. Sometimes, for example, you might have a natural regrowth, and then the girl colored her hair herself, and there's that, I call it stupid color. There's that stupid band that's like green, gold, transparent, right? So then I would apply to the regrowth and then introduce it through that band. So that's another way that you would do it when it's not virgin head of hair. And Laura had some highlights just running through her hair, and she just screamed ginger. What I love about the chromatics is, even with the gold red in that formula, it's not pinky, it's not coral, and it's not unnatural. I mean, you would never really know that she had her hair colored. It looks like her natural color. But as she spins around, you see the sparkle that comes because we put the hair through a lift and deposit, but subtly and gently. And a deposit only or demi would have added some color. So what do you guys think? Do you like that?